Hi, my name is Alicia Gilpin, one of the co-hosts of Automation Ladies, and this is one of my other co-hosts, Courtney Fernandez, and we're here today to talk to Mike Lee from UniView.
How's it going, Mike?
Hi, morning.
So what is UniView?
Well, UniView is a platform that we developed looking at all the current technology change going on. And so when we traditionally we deal with small to medium sized companies, and what we found was that data is everywhere, right? Data is scattered in, all these silos of information, silos of automation, engineering systems, business systems, production systems, with all the different specialized software that runs it. Even automation cells that are a whole robot on the factory floor is in a lot of cases isolated from the rest of the production floor,
Right.
and let alone the whole business system. So what we set out to do is set up a platform and an infrastructure that allows companies to connect all the data in one system that allows them to have access to all the information. So then now they can apply all the, intelligent tools and access everything together. So such as dashboarding, all the AI agents, analytics, so there's a lot that you can do with data if you have access to it. And one of the key challenges of even AI today is how do you get access to all that data? Because if you don't have good data, you won't get good output. And so that's what UniView strives to do, is set up that infrastructure so that you can have access to do what you want with it so that you can make your decisions going forward. So that's what we set out.
Can you walk us through, if you're going into a new client, how are you going to look at all the systems they have?
Well,
and try to connect them.
When you look at your traditional company, small to medium sized company, they're staffed with just the right resources to be able to do, their job, to get their goods out the door, to be profitable, but they don't have extra resources to help modernize and make more efficient, things. So traditionally we will find people running their whole production floor with spreadsheets. They'll find engineering systems that have tons of data that engineers are massaging to get into ERP and production systems. And so there's a lot of little broken areas that are very clear to the customer, that they know that those are their pain points. And so all we do is ask them a bunch of questions. We ask them, where's your bottleneck? If you could fix things overnight, what would it be? And so then they tell us what they need. And so then we can bring in all of the tools, integrated with UniView, and nobody needs all the solutions at once. They need to solve one problem. And so then we focus on that area, then we jump to another area. So then by the time they're done, then they have what resembles a system that they can work with that benefits them without breaking the bank. Because nobody can implement technology overnight and cause a disruption to everything.
And I think people try to do that, and there's struggles with that. Can you speak to some of those struggles?
Right. A lot of times, like I said, when people are using spreadsheets, it's because it came out of necessity.
Right.
And so when you try to go in and you disrupt that system, then all you get is pushback, right? Because there's the system's working. Why should we change it? Why break what's already,
what's working?
What's working? And so the challenge is trying to find that area where the person or the group of people responsible for a certain area is given the power, and you empower them that whatever they're doing is benefiting the whole company through this additional automation. And so they're the key people that know what to do. They know what's broken. In fact, they're the ones that can help come up with a solution. So it
sounds very people centric.
Oh yeah. We know, you've been in so many environments where, as an engineer, as a programmer, as a technical person, if you can't communicate with the talk on the floor, it's very hard to break in. And so that's what, but you show them step by step what they can achieve with very incremental progress.
Well, I know as an engineer, sometimes you can see benefits of implementing these technologies, but convincing management can sometimes be a story that sounds like, well, we've already applied this formula and this formula makes us money, and you're proposing that we change this formula.
Right.
So where does management usually see like the benefit, where they recoup their costs, where they get the benefit back from making these changes?
Right. And so, in fact, a lot of management, got there through the development of implementing the solutions that they're currently running. A lot of managers are the ones that created those spreadsheets, that created that production line, that did that, 20 years ago. And so when you show them that through simple automation, through application of a program like UniView, you could when you show them that the ROIs can justify that, the investment. For example, we did a robotic installation of a deburring cell. In fact, we're highlighting that at our show, where a very skilled operator, deburrer, was touching these $500 parts that was coming out of a 6-axis machine, but there was no way around it. Right. And so the person responsible for that department, he knew that if that person, which he had already planned for retirement, if that person wasn't there, then they would be in a lot of trouble. So then we proposed them a solution that showed them an ROI within 3 months.
Wow.
At a better quality, better repeatability, and the schedule that they could maintain. So it's all about working with the customer to find the appropriate solution, right? Because that's where the small to medium-sized companies struggle with. You see all this technology in this show. You can't implement this. The biggest company in the world can't implement all of the technology available here, right? So the trick is in trying to find the marriage between the right technology with the right need at the moment. And so it's a step-by-step journey, okay. I feel.
So tell me about what automation means to you.
Well, I mean, here we are at the beginning of this Automate show, right? The biggest in maybe the
North
world,
America,
right? North America. And so you walk around the show and there's so much technology that I just saw today. So I think I'm going to coin a new phrase, and I would say automation is the implementation of your imagination.
I really like that.
Right? Because you look at all of the neat ideas and the highly developed technology and technology that we haven't even seen yet, right? But we're experiencing it right now. It's all from someone's imagination, and it does no good. It's just in your head. It truly becomes real when you can apply it, when you can implement it in a real world setting. And that's, I think, the age that we live in is this convergence of digital and physical. So we're in the cyber physical era where we're just seeing so many old technologies that have been around for ages working very effectively till now, but where things are changing at such an exponential pace that if you don't take advantage of some of this right now, you're going to be the Blockbuster and the Kodaks of tomorrow.
It is a race
and
right
you
now.
You don't want to be that, right? And we all want to be here, and that's why we're here, right? That's why every one of us is here, is to learn from each other, from all these vendors. And so I look at this whole industry as not just competitors, but there are partners. There are future partners to helping us come up with a solution.
Well, I like your abundance mindset. And we were actually talking like at one of those tables over there just a moment ago, and you mentioned I think it was the Exponential company.
Oh, right.
What is the company of the future?
Yeah, right. There's a book called, in fact, my mentor, Philip Topham, I don't know if you've heard of him, but he's an AI expert. He recommended a book called The Exponential Organization.
Oh, thank you.
And when you read through that, there's so many topics that just enlightens you of where we're headed, that for example, the organization of the future will not own any assets, right? Everything will be leased,
Crazy.
borrowed, outsourced, because if you're tied to physical assets, then that ties you down from growing exponentially. And that's where the industry is. You look at the companies that have succeeded today, billion-dollar companies in a couple of years. What took 100 years of major Fortune 500 companies to achieve, they're doing now in a couple of years. And so, and that's just the start. We're just at the start of Industry 4.0, right? This only started 12 years ago, officially. And yet we're experiencing so much change that if we don't take proactive action, then we're going to be left behind. And nobody wants to be felt that way.
So we talk a lot about, the newest advancements in technology, but can you tell me how UniView looks at legacy equipment? Because there's still a lot of legacy equipment out there
like I said,
running.
A lot of our customers are small to medium. They're running production on equipment that they bought 50, 60 years ago.
Right.
Old punch presses, old, turret lathes and mills.
But they're still applying a formula and making money.
Exactly. Right.
Relay logic.
But they're not taking advantage of all the technology, all of the data that's available from these machines. Just like with Amazon, home automation, right? You could plug in a module and turn on your light, from your office, right? You could do that at home. Yet inside of a company, you don't know what that machine is doing except for what he tells you at the end of the day, right? So by applying smart sensors, right? IoT, which is a whole big industry in itself, you can get what's going on with that machine without a huge investment, without replacing that with current machinery, right? And so that's where I was saying, can small companies implement technology on a tight budget? Yes, you can. There's so many tools, so many hardware and software tools that you can take advantage of to do that today, not wait till that technology reaches down to your level. For example, like any 7-year-old can find any trivial, complicated information on the internet, right? It's through a simple Google search, whatever he wants to find. Yet a CEO of a major Fortune 500 company, you ask him to find 3-year-old data or even last week's data, marketing data, he'll struggle. He won't know where to go. I don't care how big of a company you are. That's the age that we live in. We're inundated with so much technology, but we're bogged down by the legacy. So UniView connects all the legacy data. We connect NAS drives that have 500,000 folders. Of course, those are sub folders.
That's network address storage, NAS drive.
And we can find content within a PDF document within a NAS drive within a couple of seconds. Connect all your NAS drives, all your emails with attachments. We can find a PDF or a Word doc attachment, the contents of that within a couple of seconds. So by applying these kind of tools, you as a small company can take advantage of the technology today. We can then take that, feed it through Gemini or whatever AI engine that you're comfortable with, and then give you more analytics off of that. So there's so many ways that you can take the incremental step to achieving that if you don't do it, then you're going to be left aside. That's
how does a customer know, or how does a manufacturer know that they're ready for UniView? Is there a ready?
Well, we all know, everyone knows what their organization is structured, and if you're using a spreadsheet to run your production, if you're using a cloud drive to share your documents, if you're using email to notify people of what's going on, then you'd better start looking, and you can start with us.
Excellent.
Your data is valuable. Get it?
Right. Your data is your most valuable asset in your company today.
How can people contact or get in contact with UniView?
Well, we have a booth down in Hall E.
Do you know what number it is?
Number.
It's okay.
Look it up.
They do have
Farm app.
Right.
There's an app for that.
Yeah. Yeah. And so yeah, I welcome everybody to join us and help us to help you. So that's what our message is.
That sounds good. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much for talking to us
All right.
today.
Thank you.